This meeting is being recorded for future viewing on the cable channel. We also have live via Zoom tonight, and for future viewing on the town YouTube page. Can I get a motion to open the planning board meeting?
Motion to open the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can we get everybody to introduce themselves? Peter?
Peter Guyampa, member.
Steve Boucher, member.
Mark Francois, chairman.
Brian DeChamps, member.
Rick Ellis, vice chairman.
I would also like to take this opportunity to introduce our new town planner, Victoria Alfaro. As previously mentioned, we joined with Mattapoisett with an MOA to share a town planner. Victoria is employed by Mattapoisett, but shares her time with Mattapoisett and Acushnet. So I'd like to welcome Victoria to Acushnet and this crazy board.
Welcome aboard.
Okay, next we have the minutes of the July 11th meeting. Haley had sent this out to everybody. It's quite extensive. I think she did a really good job of covering everything really well. Has everybody had a chance to look it over, and do you have any comments or concerns?
Only three of us.
That's right, two were absent. So it is me, Pete, and Brian.
I make a motion to accept the minutes from July 11th, 2024.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Moving along, correspondence, for now we have none. Next is public hearing. Okay, so Form C 2023-01, public hearing continuation. Proposed subdivision of land on 39 Keene Road, Form C, definitive subdivision, owned by AMN Estate Holding LLC. Applicant, the engineer is Fallen Corp. of Fairhaven, Mass. This proposal is for a 6-lot subdivision on a single access street. I'm going to call the public hearing back to order. A quick note, at the last meeting, the public hearing was closed after being continued to tonight's meeting. The intent of the board was to only continue the meeting and not close the public hearing. I recommend in entertaining a motion to rescind the vote for closing the public hearing for 39 Keene Road, as it was a procedural error. Can I get a motion?
Motion to continue.
To rescind the vote.
Make a motion to rescind the vote, closing the public hearing for 39 Keene Road, as it was a procedural error.
May I have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. GAF Engineering Incorporated has completed an internal review, and there were several comments related to our regulations and drainage. The applicant is working to address the comments and requested to be continued to September 5th. I entertain a motion to continue this public hearing to September 5th, 2024, 6 p.m. at the Town Hall Board of Selectmen's meeting room.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on. Discussions and other topics. solar special permit extension request for 540R Main Street, Acushnet, Mass. The engineer is Atlantic Design Engineers. The proponent has updated information to share with the board regarding Eversource interconnection plans. Review matters presented, vote may be taken. At the last letter the planning board received was May 31st, 2023. They attended the June 15th, 2023 meeting. This extension is being requested because the extended utility for this project and many others in the area have expired. Their special permit expires August 20th, 2024. They also must get back to Conservation Commission due to the wetland delineation and ANRAD being expired. Is there anybody here from Catalyst Energy?
How you doing?
Please introduce yourself.
How's everyone tonight? My name is Ed Schweitzer. I'm with Catalyst. Am I able to plug into that?
I don't know. Hold on one quick second.
And before I get started, the landowner, Richard Woods, wasn't able to make it tonight, but he did want to provide you with a letter of support. We were just meeting before, and he's really excited about the project. He's just not feeling too great, so he wasn't able to make it tonight.
Mr. Chairman, sit tight on the connection.
Sitting tight. Right behind the flying cloud.
Do you know the guest Wi-Fi password?
I don't, actually. I don't. Eric, Mike, Eric.
I don't think he's gonna be able to plug into that TV right now.
Okay,
Alright. If I'm working on it, if I can get it to work, I'll let you know.
okay, thank you.
No worries. Well,
Just move along as best you can without.
yeah,
the
it's
presentation.
okay. And the only real visual thing I had prepared was just pretty much a kind of rundown of dates and milestones to kind of run you through. But I've got that here. None of the site plans have changed dramatically at this time, and really what we're looking to do is we're requesting to extend the permit for another 12 months, a year, until next August, in order to allow the to get further confirmation on the interconnection upgrade schedule from Eversource. So just to kind of walk you through the project, this one's been kicking around for a while. It's a 2.7 megawatt AC project with a 2 megawatt, 4 megawatt hour battery. It's located at 540R Main Street in Acushnet. It's over by right behind the Flying Cloud Orchards. The project company that applied for it before, TJA 540R Main Street Acushnet LLC, was acquired by my company, Catalyst, at the end of 2021. And we took over the development. We've taken over the all the communication for the project, and it's ours now. The special permit and the stormwater management permit were approved for this project on August 20th, 2021. The interconnection application was submitted by the previous owner of the project, TJA, in April 2018. After about 5 years, we executed a interconnection agreement back in 2023, and we were issued a SMART award, the incentive in April of last year as well. So really what we're doing is, what we're asking is for this extension to let the utility continue with their upgrades. We're in monthly meetings, and I'm sure you're gonna hear a very similar story from some folks who are on the agenda as well. They're, at least from, in one of the other slides I had was sort of the utility schedule that I had sent over to you all as part of my proposal.
Is that this schedule right here?
That's it. So this project itself, or specifically, is interconnecting into the Wing Lane substation, which, if you look at that schedule, is actually, I want to say, yep, it is on that schedule, it's the first substation that's supposed to be upgraded. So we're expecting that the utility will be placing their orders for long lead items. Once they place those orders and they confirm that, we're on a monthly call with them where they update us, and they tell us what all the projects they made. That will allow us to continue advancing the engineering. The project itself, we've reduced it actually. So it was, I believe, the last time you guys saw it, it was a 5 megawatt AC project. We're reducing it to 2.7. Just due to the size constraints and some of the wetlands.
Have you submitted new plans?
So what I want to do is I want to get the wetlands boundaries reapproved, and once I get the wetland boundaries reapproved, we'll then go and we'll finalize the updated plans, and then we'll run those by you. So I wanted to extend the special use permit, so that's still valid, then go and have the wetlands redelineated and approved, and then come back to you guys with the approved wetland boundary with a new set of plans for the site plan review to go about and get your approval and then move forward on that set of plans. So I think this, to me, seems like the most efficient way to kind of keep everything valid and keep everything moving along, because as we're pretty excited about this. Like this group is moving pretty well, and this substation that we're directly connected to is one of the earliest ones slated for operations. So we're hoping that means we can come online sooner. We've got full site control, or we've got our lease executed. Our landowner is very excited and been very patient through this process, and I think this is a very reasonable request for a reason that quite frankly we can't control, and we've been doing our best. We've been doing our best trying to work through the utility and get things approved. So sorry, that was a lot.
Gentlemen, any questions?
In terms of extensions, can we extend things indefinitely, or are we limited to like one 12-month extension? Or
You can do a month, a year, 2 years. I don't know if we can do it.
I just don't know if we can legally keep
Extending?
extending. It may be up to them to just.
Well, this one has never been extended.
Right.
They're at the end of their 3-year initial permit time limit, I guess you could say. They've never been extended. They're coming up in August 20th, I think it is, which is going to expire. So this is their first actual request for an extension. They are going through, like we've heard from the next proponent, they're going through kind of the same thing that a lot of other solar companies. They kind of got, and then I was kind of educated that some other solar projects here in town made it through before they kind of put the halt on things. That's why we have some that were able to go and start and complete. And then Eversource kind of put the brakes on things so they could do this study. And whoever didn't get approved prior to this has been on hold due to Eversource. I have been with extensive phone calls with town council regarding this subject. And there's a lot of bills proposed up in Boston that has a lot to do with this. So I foresee a lot of changes coming down the pike regarding a lot of this, because a lot of people are having these issues with Eversource. So.
All right, well, now what does it say in our not our current bylaw, but the bylaw that was in effect when these guys got their approval? Regarding extensions. Like I seems like I recall some wording that said that the planning board can grant an extension for 12 months, but no more. That's just I don't know that that's correct or not.
I don't know. I can't tell you 100%, but I'm fairly confident we can extend it for a year or up to 2, because that's what the permit is valid for, is 2. So we can do the 1 or the original 2 years, to the best of my knowledge. And I did ask. I was 99% sure we could do it for the 2, and then I asked town council if we could do it for less and do it for 1, and he said yes.
Mr. Chairman, that is correct.
Thank you.
So what were you looking for an extension until? You said something about what, the end of next year? Is that what you're looking for?
For a 12-month extension, so basically, in next August, we're hoping that we'll be able to pull building permits and, by next August, I hope we're mobilized and, starting to build this thing. So, I think a 12-month extension certainly, and, it also allows us to build in a little bit of leniency with, Eversource's schedule. They've got a very complex, construction project on their hands as well. And, any delays in procurement or things like that during the construction process, we need to account for that. But, I think a year, you had suggested possibly 2. I'd love that. I didn't realize that was an option. But, 1 year will certainly, should certainly allow us to get a much clearer line of sight on when we can get this thing turned on. And also, I think that gives us plenty of time to advance the engineering to come back to you guys. And, as we start to have these, because like I said, we're going to have our site plan review, the site plan approval amended. As we come in and talk to you guys, I'll be able to give you regular updates kind of on the progress. And, maybe if we decide to extend the permit during that period, it just opens the conversation. And, I'm looking forward to hopefully being able to collaborate and get this thing and see it to fruition.
How long before we see those site plan changes? It just seems like you're going to be making, just a little change. Yeah.
It isn't going to be drastically different than what was approved. I do want to get the wetland boundaries taken care of first, so that is set in stone, and then we can do the rest of our design. And then I'm hoping sometime in October or November that we'll be back here and we can go over the site plans, and I can run you through any of the updates to the layout and probably the stormwater.
Okay.
Anybody else? Is there anybody in the audience that has anything regarding this? Please stand up and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. David Fixler, attorney at Greenberg Traurig in Boston, and I represent DSD, which is the next project. I just want to add a little color on the schedule, because I've been intimately involved with the Eversource. And so Mr. Switzer is correct. Wing Lane is the first substation that is supposed to be gone in service. But what is not clear yet is whether Eversource is going to allow projects who are interconnecting with Wing Lane to interconnect before they finish the rest of the upgrade. And if you look at their schedule, you see there's a bunch of other substations. And I don't know if you have the first page of that, but the first page has a big disclaimer that says the proposed schedule is non-binding, is intended to provide project milestones, and will be updated monthly as priorities may shift through the life of the project. So what we pushed for at the DPU, Eversource at the beginning wasn't going to allow anybody to interconnect until they were completely done with the whole what's called a SIP, a capital improvement proposal. And they are required to finish it all by the beginning of 2027. We pushed very hard because the developers all want to get these projects interconnected as soon as they can. They've been waiting for years. We pushed very hard for what's called phased interconnection, which would allow exactly what this gentleman has said, is that the projects that are connecting to a substation that's been done should be able to interconnect while the rest of the upgrades proceed. These are developers, they're very optimistic. Unfortunately, I'm a lawyer. I listen to what's not said, and when I've been at these meetings, these monthly meetings were actually our idea for the developer group that we represent, of which they are a member. And Eversource has said they would like to do phased interconnection, but they won't be in a position until they get further along to definitively say that. So, you know, in my mind, the good cause, which is what we're all here for, that's the reason for the request, is there's a good cause to extend it. I'm not sure a year, we don't know yet, sitting here today, whether it's a year or 2 years. 2 years would certainly be much more comfortable, because I know for sure within the next 6 to 9, 10 months, we'll have a much better sense from Eversource as to whether they're going to allow Wing Lane to interconnect. We're certainly going to put as much pressure as we can on that to allow this interconnection. But I can't sit here today and tell you that it's absolutely for sure that the projects that are going into Wing Lane, if it's done in the fall of 2025, we'll be able to plug in then. It's not clear yet. It may be maybe a few months after that, so we don't know. That's all I want to say before you take a vote on his, because we have very similar situated projects. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments?
What happens if we agree to extend it for a year? Is that it? Or can it be extended again? I mean, you don't want to just keep coming every year, having to extend it and extend it and
I
extend
believe
it.
it's only one extension.
I'm not 100% sure on that. Victoria, would you have any idea?
I've only got a chance to look at the bylaws briefly. I think it's one time for 2 years, but I'm not sure. I know there was 2 sets of that solar bylaw floating around the office, so I'm not sure which one I was looking at.
And we were, you might be looking at the old one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had an up to.
Yes, I think we added it
We
up
had-
to. I
we
think
had
we can
up
do
to.
one up
We can
to
do-
2 years. Now, whether or not that's the last time we can extend it, I don't know. I'm gonna say it's a one-time extension, and then you'd have to reapply.
I believe that's how the new one.
Yeah,
I
I'd
believe
like
that's how the new
I'd
bylaws
like
are in.
to dig up the wording of the bylaw when the
Yeah.
thing was approved. I mean, and let's start there. In terms of future extensions, I don't have a problem personally with giving these guys another 12 months. I mean, that's just my own opinion. But I want to be prepared at the end of the 12 months or sooner to know whether that's it, and then they've got to put a whole new submission in or not. I would also say that if you're, during this next 12 months, I would like to see, if it's not going to happen in 12 months, which it probably won't, Eversource is probably not going to be that quick about it.
Mr. Hinckley?
Just got off the phone with town council.
Yes.
In good cause, you can extend the permits by 1 year. And in a year from now, if they have to reapply for an extension, you can extend it another year per our bylaw and the new Massachusetts good cause laws.
Okay.
So
Fair
you're not
enough.
tied to a 2-year extension.
But after that, then there's no more
Correct.
extending it
So
again.
you're more or less breaking up the 2 years.
You're breaking
Yeah.
up to 2 years,
Yeah.
correct. So you have the full 2 years, but I would suggest, my recommendation, sorry, Bob Hinckley, Board of Selectmen, you can extend it to 1 year, readdress it. If they don't have interconnection by that year, bring it back to the board, and you can extend, or make a proposal to extend it another year.
So they get a total of 2, and we're breaking it
Correct.
up in half,
So
basically.
why not give them the 2 right off the...
But I would say, make sure that you're prepared at the end of 12 months to show us what you have attempted to complete in that 12 months.
Of course.
And then that will go a long way to us looking at a good cause additional 12-month extension. That's just a
Absolutely.
suggestion.
And as I said, I plan to get the wetlands taken care of in the next month or so.
And
so
the thing to do is to say, we have got the wetlands line reestablished.
Right.
It's good for another year, and whatever other things that you have done to attempt to move the project forward.
absolutely.
I mean, we've got a couple that just basically were a letter that said, well, we've done everything we can do, please give us an extension. And at that time, the board frowned on that one.
Sure.
That's,
Okay, with the new information from town council, what do we think?
I'll make a motion to extend it for 12 months, and to be reviewed if need be for good cause at that point.
I'll second it.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Aye. You have 12 months, sir.
Thank you.
And if possible, sorry to interrupt, if possible, if you do come back in 12 months and you still aren't connected, if you have any correspondence with Eversource, I don't care if it's just a monthly, are we ready yet? No, kind of email. If you could bring that to us, at least it shows us that at least it's not you, it's them.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Next is the solar special permit tolling lapse date. Distributed Solar Development LLC DSD New Leaf Energy at 52 Morses Lane. Review matters presented, vote may be taken. At the last meeting, the board voted to extend their special permit to September 19th. I invite anybody from New Leaf to come up. Please introduce yourself again. Thank you.
Good evening. My name again is David Fixler from the law firm of Greenberg Traurig. I represent DSD in this proceeding. With me, you can introduce yourselves.
Jared Connell with New Leaf Energy. Good to see you guys again.
And Jay, introduce yourself, the landowner,
The landowner on the Mendel Road project.
Mendel Road project. So, I mean, I was here before. We had a long conversation, and Mr. Chair, you certainly have gotten exactly what the issue is with Eversource. There's no control here. I don't think a year is going to be enough. I just think, having talked with Eversource, the good cause has been, right now, we've been stuck for 3 years right now. We've not been able to do anything in terms of getting to construction. We've had to wait for Eversource. There's now some daylight that's on the horizon. We think we have a North Star far in the horizon, but it's a little premature, in my mind, to say exactly if we can be able to actually interconnect in October or November of 2025, when the Wing Lane station is supposed to be ready. So what we were asking for is to recognize that there's been a good cause extension there's been good cause to toll the permit for 3 years already, and all we're saying is we think it should be another 2 years. That's you have the authority to do it. Actually, you can go as far as you want, because good cause, there's case law, good cause can go forever until something else happens. As long as you are trying to do everything you can do to to activate the permit, but if you're stuck, like all these projects are, that could cause, it keeps on getting extended. That's not the situation we're in. I actually feel very comfortable now that with Eversource, with this schedule, I just don't know if a year is gonna be enough, and I'm cognizant of the coming back and doing that, or just trying to get it into 2 years. Trust me, these folks here they'd like to interconnect tomorrow. Nothing has aggravated the projects in this group more than just sitting around and having to wait and wait and wait and wait. And the last time we talked about a project that you just mentioned, that they were on the good side of the split, and that was just an arbitrary decision by Eversource. One day in 2020, they said these projects you'll get your interconnection agreement, and all these other ones, sorry, you're in this big group and we're going to have to study you after being in the interconnection queue. So that's really what my ask is. I know you just voted on a 1 year for a similarly situated project. I just don't know if that's going to be enough, and I think in a perfect world, it would be 2 years. That doesn't mean we're going to just sit on anything. We're just waiting to see where Eversource is going to go, and our intention right now is to start construction in the end of 2025 or the beginning of 2026. So
That was my next question to you. And what is, so let's assume that they said you were gonna get it in November, okay? So when would you're gonna wait till November before you start any of the build out?
No, it takes about a year to construct it. There's a lot of lead time. They have to order equipment. There's supply chain issues. The problem with having, the way it works with solar systems is they particularly like to align the solar project's construction schedule with the interconnection upgrade. And in the old days, pre-2020, before this whole group, it was an easy process, which is what you were probably used to. Project comes in, gets its permit, has for 2 years, 3 years. It gets studied by Eversource individually, not as a group. Eversource comes back and says, okay, for your project to interconnect, we have to do X, Y, and Z to our system. It's going to cost you X amount of dollars, and we're going to do it by this date. That was ironclad. Then the project would know exactly when it could interconnect, and then it could order its components. When we don't know precisely when the upgrades are going to be finished, if you order the components too soon and they're just sitting there, number one, the warranty is activated, yet we can't use the equipment, so the warranty is dissipating. 2, you're having equipment that's just sitting there, not doing anything, and there's degradation with that. And 3, in terms of getting lenders financing, the first thing they're always going to say is, well, when is your permission to operate going to happen? So these are all still unknown today. We'll have much more clarity on what's going to happen. We already have clarity with that schedule. That schedule is a very good development. It keeps on getting modified. It's been modified to our benefit. 6 months ago, the dates were much further to the right on that schedule. So all I'm saying is that I think, and I had a nice conversation with town council on Tuesday. We obviously didn't say what he was going to recommend or anything like that, but we had a good conversation. He understands the position that my clients are in, that there's nothing that they can do, and that we're just starting to see daylight. So that's all I'm saying is I know you just voted for 1 year, but in my mind, the way to really do it is just to say it's 2 years, and then we'll be done with it. I just want to say one thing, there was a carryover from the last meeting, you just referenced it about the legislation. So just for the members of the board who weren't here, this issue has gotten a lot of attention on Beacon Hill, and there are 2 permit extension bills or sections in bills that are floating around on Beacon Hill. One is in the Governor's Economic Development Bill. That's a 2-year extension for all permits, state, local, they would just get an automatic 2-year extension. Then there's another section in the energy bill which relates to projects such as these, and that extends. This tells you where the thought was. That extends the permits until 2029. Though both the House and Senate passed versions of that but it's been stuck in conference committee because the legislature has this artificial July 31 deadline, and I'm sure you've read all about how that a lot of stuff didn't get out of conference committee. So that caused a whole uproar, and the legislature is going to have to come back for a formal session to do the economic bill, which is a lot more than just the energy stuff. And they need a formal session for that. For the longer extension, that's in the energy bill. That could be done in an informal session. So it's my understanding that they're committed to passing that. But the last time I was here, we had said that maybe when I come back, it will have happened by July 31st. So it did not happen. So while it's passed both houses, it's still sitting technically in conference committee.
Let me ask you a quick question. You're a lawyer. Hypothetically, we vote to give you X amount of time of an extension today, and then that bill passes up in the Beacon Hill going to 2029, like you said. Will that trump, that supersede everything that?
Yes. I mean, you can check it. Obviously, we'll check it. That's my understanding. That was the intent of it. The intent of it was there are so many projects like this, and these projects are in a better situation because they're in what's called the Marion Fairhaven group. There's 4 other Eversource groups, but the Marion Fairhaven group was the first one that was submitted to the DPU by a month, and the DPU put that on what's called a rocket docket, and that went really fast. And so a decision was issued on the last day of 2022. The appeal period ran in January of 2023, and that's when the 4-year clock that Eversource has to do the whole upgrade. The other what I call SIPs, these capital improvement proposals, they were submitted a month after this Marion Fairhaven, but their hearing didn't get held in the DPU until March of 2023, and they just were decided a month ago. So they're way behind. They don't even have a schedule yet. They don't have anything like that. They haven't had their monthly meetings. That's all going to happen. So these projects that you're going to be facing are in much better shape. There definitely is light at the end of the interconnection tunnel, and I'm pleased because this is something I've been working on behalf of all these projects for years at the Department of Public Utilities. And I just want to say that this is there. I'm active in my own town. I've sat on some boards, and I know there are projects that the developers don't do anything. They sit there. These are not this. That they just couldn't do anything while there was all this uncertainty with Eversource, and now that uncertainty is starting to be peeled away, and we're very excited about that.
Was it you that sent the email today with all the correspondence with Eversource?
It was DSD that sent that. Though you've seen it. It's just all the emails from the monthly.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so all right, it did come from DSD.
Yeah, it came from these projects.
So what I had just asked the previous proponent to bring the next time is what we got supplied today, which is a slew of emails that went from between DSD and Eversource. So they have been going back and forth. They have been trying.
It's all the projects actually. It's not just DSD.
Right.
You'll see it's every project that's in the group that's been interacting with Eversource.
Right. I understand, and again, I want to say the same thing I said previously. Speaking with town council, I understand that you guys are being held up. With the new information that we just got from town council, thank you, Mr. Hinckley. I like consistency. My personal opinion, if they have more information in a year and they're not hooked up yet, and they come back in a year, then we extend it for the full 2. But I like consistency, and I think we should be consistent. That's just my 2 cents. Anybody have any other questions, comments?
I've got a couple of questions.
Please.
In terms of this project, are the plans that were submitted and approved for special permit purposes, is that the same plan today?
Yeah, no, there hasn't been any changes.
Okay, there's no changes to that. increases, reductions of the amount of area that's going to be cleared, of the amount of area that is going to be subject to a stormwater permit, all that stuff, that's the same?
Is that both projects?
Well, I'm just talking about this particular.
No, these are two.
Okay, well,
Yeah, there are two projects, they have the same owners,
Yeah.
but you can answer.
No, we have not made any changes to the plans.
do you anticipate making any changes?
Anything's possible.
I mean, of any substance. I mean, obviously, if you've got, no battery storage where you had some battery storage before, I mean, there are certainly small changes that I'm not really too concerned about. But, I mean, we had another project that they got cut in half, but they cleared everything and created a tremendous problem for us in town. I mean, so I'm thinking in terms of changes on that order, like having the size of the project, doubling the size of the project, changes that you can see right now that are anticipated, before you order panels. I'm thinking of the things that need to be done prior to, ordering construction materials and getting online for that. So we've got, if that's the same, is there a wetlands delineation and a wetlands order of conditions that have been filed and approved relative to these two particular projects?
Yeah, they have, there's an order of conditions on the Mendel Road project. There also is an order of conditions on the Morse's.
And when do they run out? So you still have a valid wetlands delineation for both of those projects?
The wetlands have been delineated on both sites. The Mendel Road one was extended for 3 years last July,
Okay.
I think. And the Morse's Lane one, you guys may know that the Conservation Commission did deny an extension last January.
They did what?
They denied.
I'm old and deaf, you'll have to put up with me.
They denied it. They denied the extension. It's my understanding that's in litigation now. It's my understanding that they're trying to work towards a resolution of that.
Okay, so now, another reason to go the 12 months, and you demonstrate to us what conversations you've had with conservation on both these projects, and what the results of those conversations were, changes, modifications, or whatever. That certainly shows, other than we're waiting for Eversource,
Yeah.
that you're trying to move the project forward.
Fair enough.
Then we also have the stormwater permit. Is there currently a valid stormwater permit to construct the project that shows on the
Yeah.
plans?
We did that as part of our planning permit on both projects. Sorry, yeah, the stormwater was included in the site plan approval.
Would you mind just standing up?
Jared
A little
Conley,
bit
Nuclear
easier?
Energy.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And when does that run out?
I think it's the same lapse date as the site plan approvals, I believe.
Okay, so it would give you 12 months. If you have to get an extension on those other local permits, I personally, the rest of the board has got their own thoughts, but I would want to see that has been kept current, revised, up to date, etc., before I would look at a second 12-month extension. I mean, I understand the whole thing about lead times and not wanting to buy product that you can't put in place.
Yeah.
But there are quite a number of things that need to happen before the panels start to show up on site.
Of course.
And everybody's a new player here, but all of a sudden for panels to start showing up and people just to start clearing whatever they feel like, which has happened in a couple of other projects in town, I am not anxious to sanction extensions if that kind of thing is going to happen. And another reason to show us what progress you've made with conservation, with the wetlands delineation, with the stormwater permit, and any changes that you might, of any consequence that you want to make on those plans. I would like to see that done as part of your due diligence and moving forward
Yeah.
as best you can. I don't see that there's anything slowing up those types of efforts.
That's a fair request.
That's my comment.
You're absolutely right, but the trigger here is construction. That's what stops it. So there's a lot of things that these projects are already doing and will continue to do, but before they're gonna move the land, we don't wanna be in a situation where we're doing all this work on the land and then just sitting there for years because we still can't go ahead. That's why, that's the only reason why I think it's.
Perfectly understand. I'm talking about the permitting things that have to
Understood.
happen before the land gets cleared, before,
Right.
yeah, et cetera. That's
Understood.
what I'm talking about. I'm not anxious to have somebody come in and say, well, we're ready to start in 30 days, we need our conservation approvals updated,
That's not
exactly.
gonna happen.
We need you to approve this change in plan right now, don't laugh.
No,
That's just-
we understand the dynamic, and we wouldn't be-
Unfortunately, you're not the first ones on the agenda, that we've had to deal with here.
Right.
You're following some, at least in my mind, questionable practices.
Understood completely, and that's why we've been trying to be as transparent as we can, being honest and not sugarcoating what we've been facing.
Yeah.
As we came last year, there's a long letter that's in your record that has a lot of attachments which painstakingly detail. So that's what I'm trying to say, that I don't want to sugarcoat it. We're happy about but I'm a little concerned. I understand your rationale. I'm just a little concerned until we get a more clarity from Eversource, that I just don't know if 1 year is going to be enough, if that's all that you want to do today. I just have to say, just for the record, that it's good cause, and good cause can go on. So if it's 1 year, we will. But I will say, subject to our right to say continuing good cause, and we need more.
If I may.
Please.
Good cause is not just for you, good cause is for townspeople. Okay, that particular property below it, there's been a development going down below it. So there's a lot of questions regarding stormwater. Basically what Rick has alluded to.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just gonna come out and say it.
we had a road flooded out, we've had people's backyards flooded out.
Really has to be redone and looked at extensively so that we do not ruin other people's property with stormwater running off.
I think, go ahead.
So that's
You're gonna have
that's
two
my
big
biggest
projects.
concern. And that needs to be, I would think, it needs to be addressed sooner than later. If we stick with the consistency of giving you 1 year, like Rick said, and at least you're working towards a proper retention of the water that's gonna run off that property.
Yeah.
Because we do not wanna wash out the new homes at the bottom of the hill, basically.
Yeah, I think from our standpoint, and just to characterize it maybe a little bit differently than the way David did, but anytime, 1 year, the extension is, what we can't see right now, anytime you're dealing with Eversource or utility, is that schedule that you guys have that shows the October date for the Wing Lane station. That's great. That's a great milestone that we've gotten, but we know that dealing with Eversource and utility, like, that schedule could push easily, and in the event that the 1 year isn't sufficient, 2 would be much more safe, just in case anything happens with Eversource's schedule. But as long as there's an attitude of and the approach that you guys seem to be taking.
I understand the things with Eversource.
Yeah.
Let's get the upfront things before you start to rip up the land taken care of, within this next 12-month period, or close to it.
For sure.
Before, and again, this is just my opinion, before I would even think about a second 12 months. That's all.
That's fair.
I mean, you still got the option to come back at the end of that year,
Yeah.
so it's not like this
We do.
is
No,
the end.
right.
We just want to make sure we're not in front of you perpetually here, and that we get a time, it's a time that's sufficient.
For all we know, Eversource could be 10 years before they let anybody connect in. Obviously, I know they're getting pressure from the state government, to not adversely hold up
Right, you're absolutely right.
clean energy projects.
what will happen, I mean, how this would play out if it, is that they would say, yeah, it's great we got Wing Lane in the fall of 2025, but for safety, it's a whole interconnected system, and for safety and reliability, we're just not gonna let anybody interconnect until we're done with the entire upgrade. And that's what I'm concerned about.
I understand perfectly, but, again, there are things that had to be done up front before the special permit was even granted. The wetlands, the stormwater, the screening, all of the stuff, and some close idea of how many panels are going to go in and how much land is going to be cleared. Let's get that stuff resolved. And I'm still here for another few years, but, I certainly wouldn't have any problem if you come back and you say, okay, we're still waiting for Eversource, no surprise, but we've done these three things to keep everything current and ready to go as soon as Eversource, as soon as we get a commitment from Eversource that we can tie in 12 months.
Yeah, so I think that's where we are right now, though, right?
Yeah. And we're going to continue doing everything we can to be in.
About the logistics of the, about the logistics of getting it in, and again, it's about, a year and a half from now, 2 years, and I'm sure it's out there already. I got solar panels on my house since 2016. The efficiency of those panels today, of what I have on my roof, are not what they're coming out with today.
Exactly.
So, to what Rick's getting, basically, is it the amount of panels, or you could have, the array could actually shrink, okay, if you get high, because you're based on a megawatt reduction, am I correct?
That's right.
Yeah, which a permit.
Yeah.
So if those arrays shrink, okay, we may want to take a look at to see what, because we had one basically, something shrank and they still cleared the original permit.
Yeah.
And it caused an absolute disaster, and we do not want to repeat that process.
That's totally fair and understandable. Yeah.
I think we've kind of gone over it. I think everything's been gone over more than once.
Okay.
I will entertain a motion.
I would make a motion that we extend this permit or permits.
Well, right now, we are doing 52 Morse's
Okay, I
Lane.
would make a motion that we extend the special permit for 52 Morse's Lane by 12 months.
We have a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Let's jump without any...
Can I ask a procedural question? What date are we using for the 12 months? Are we using the September 19th date that was given?
We'll give you September 19th.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm that.
Yeah,
Thank
we'll
you.
give you September 19th. And without hesitation and going over everything again, I would entertain a motion for 251 Mendel Road.
I would make a motion that we extend the special permit for 251 Mendel Road by 12 months.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And what's the date on that one?
The
Is that
same, September
19th also?
19th as well.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank
Appreciate
you very
your
much,
time.
guys. Really appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time. Thanks.
All right. Moving on. Robinson Road Solar Project. The proponent is Nexamp Inc. The permit screen has been installed, and discussions on cash surety for the vegetative screening and fencing. This is for discussions for the vegetative screening and fencing. Review matters presented, votes may be taken. You have pictures in your packets of the permit screen that was installed. The permit screen has been completed and installed. Pictures and completed work. The Conservation Commission. Okay, so instead of reading this, I'll just give everybody kind of a quick update. So the Conservation Commission, there was miscommunication. So they made a vote for the screening for Robinson Road, and they voted on $20,000. Again, there was miscommunication. They weren't supposed to vote on the screening and vegetative screening for Robinson Road. That was under the solar special permit. That's something we are to do. Originally, I was gonna just leave their vote and kind of piggyback on theirs and add to it for what we wanted, but after talking to town council, they would prefer everything being under one. So Conservation is going to rescind their vote at their next meeting of the $20,000. So I asked Nexamp for a quote on how much it costs them for all the plantings, all the vegetative plantings around Robinson Road. And they came back with $76,000, I think it was. And then I wanted to know how much it cost for the screening that they installed, and that was $16,000. So I should
$92,000.
$92,000. Thank you very much. I should have had that, but $92,000. The cash surety, just to kind of put some light on this, the cash surety is so the planning board has the power to replace any of the vegetative screening or the new perma-screen that is on the fencing for up to 5 years. So we make sure that in case the proponent doesn't want to pay, we have cash sureties that the planning board can pull and we take care of it. The cash surety is for 5 years. Once the 5 years are up, the trees and whatnot should have taken, should be growing, everything should be going as planned, and we won't need the perma-screen as much anymore, so if it gets taken down, the vegetative trees should take over and do their job. So we're at $92,000. It cost them $92,000 to put everything in. In my opinion, I don't feel we should ask for a complete and total amount of what it cost them to put it in, but a good portion of that, in my personal opinion, should go into a cash surety of $50,000 to $60,000. Again, this isn't something that we might not ever touch it, and they might get 100% of that money back. But in the instance of the case that they sell, they move on, they lose our email address, at least we can have the ability to dip into the cash and fix it ourselves. That is the purpose of a vegetative screening cash surety.
So I just gonna, the question I've got, and then we voted to allow the perma-screen. So the perma-screen basically, right now, it is temporary until, the purpose of it was temporary until.
5 years.
Right, so vegetation grows in.
Correct.
Vegetation grows in.
Correct.
Okay, so part of that, I still think you should keep that because inflation is going to take over and that's going to be minimal at best. Okay?
Keep what?
Keep that 92,000 combined, okay? This needs to go away after 5 years,
Correct.
okay? And that's it, that needs to be part of it. They need to come in, get it, trash it, dispose of it, and the permit, and the veggie screen should be fully grown by then, and we're good to go.
Right.
But that should be, just looking at what I'm seeing right there, in 5 years, that's gonna be done. And they need to dismantle it, okay?
Get rid of it.
And get rid of it as part of that.
Would they be replacing the trees that are already dead before this?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I want.
Well, again, our new town planner has just started. She's only a couple of days into her job. But part of a routine that we will discuss and we'll figure out is that she's gonna go around to all the sites. Like we had discussed this years ago, if you recall, with Doug,
Yep,
when
yep.
Doug was the planner. We had taken a vote on who's gonna be responsible for keeping an eye on on the vegetation and the solar sites. And we had voted that the planner, when Doug was the planner, that the planner was gonna be responsible. I've already spoken to Victoria about it, and whether it's, once every couple of months, once a quarter, whatever, she'll take a little drive around town, and if she notices anything that is dying, dead, needs to be replaced, yes, we reach out to the proponent, give them a heads up, they get 30, 60 days, whatever it is, to remedy the situation. They don't, then we have access to remedy it ourselves. Another thing that we're gonna try to keep a close watch on is the maintenance of these solar fields. So basically not trees that we want to keep alive and hopefully they grow, but the cutting of the grass. They have to be on a maintenance schedule with somebody. We just had neighbors and all kinds of complaints on Robinson Road because where Cushing and Robinson meet, people couldn't see because the grass was so high, people couldn't see.
Yep.
And, and now you look at the driving range over here,
Yep.
that one's getting all overgrown and that's right on, visual sight as people are driving by Main Street. So things like that, they need, and I know Conservation has brought that up to Nexamp's attention to cut the grass at the driving range. They said they're gonna get right on it. They're right on it, could be who knows how long. But that's the whole purpose of the cash surety for the screening. And we will be on a kind of a rotation of the town planner, kind of keeping an eye on how things look. So, we need to vote on a cash surety for the next 5 years for the vegetative screening and perma-screen for Robinson Road. How much, again, I don't know if we need, and this is my personal opinion, I don't know if we need the full 92 because I don't foresee having to replace everything. But I would entertain a motion.
So I do have, I guess the other question is that, do we have we reserve the right to add the language that this stuff needs to be removed and disposed of after 5 years, or as determined?
I think we can, I think we can.
Okay. Or sooner, if this stuff happens to take off and come up high enough for some,
Yeah, if the vegetation,
takes off, like I did express my concerns with this perma screen when it came up.
what I'm afraid of is it's gonna be ripped to shreds in
That's
about a year, and they're gonna have to go back and replace it.
Hence the reason why I think we should keep the whole thing, because if they walk us, again, somebody walks away, they get tired of it, they gotta replace it 3 times, suddenly just get tired of that, right? It's, in the next 5 years, that, I wouldn't doubt that shreds in a year. I've seen what this stuff does, with a good wind.
Well, and that's a wide open,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? The wind is gonna be coming right through, you got a big field right across the street.
And that's gonna do one of 2 things, it's either gonna keep them on cue, keep up the maintenance between grass cutting and maintaining what's the vegetation screen, keeping up with it, then waiting till the last minute, and then say that we need another 5 years for that perma screen. That's just kinda how I look at it, and the way the cost of business has been going, that's,
Yeah, that might be inflation on 20,000, the way things have been going the last couple of years.
Yeah, and it's no joke, we're all experiencing it in everyday life,
Did we have anything, when we voted on that perma screen, did we have anything in, I thought we had something in there about maintaining it for 10 years. I thought we had put that in there. but-
I think it's 5. I think it's maintaining it for 5 years.
And then did we put anything in to, I think Steve brings up a valid point, to
Take it
dismantle.
down. That I don't recall off the top of my head. Where would we put that asterisk of they're responsible for removing it after 5 years?
When did you guys vote on that? Purple screen?
Probably did that about,
April, May?
yeah, April, May.
I think you can just add it in now. I mean, did you guys discuss that at the time? I know you just said you guys wanted them to maintain it for 5 years. Was it sort of implied that they were supposed to remove it?
Yeah, we'd have to look at the meeting minutes, yeah.
Because you don't
We said
want it to
about
just get,
removal.
left and just keep getting destroyed and ripped up and ripped up and ripped up, and it just stays there forever, nobody.
Right.
And after 5 years, we have nothing to say, well, you go back and fix it and repair it, they
Right.
only have to do it for 5 years, so I
Right.
don't know if that's something we might wanna look into.
I think we should, have this discussion, but I think we should put this off to the next meeting, once we iron out what we can,
Can I do?
that's my biggest fear. I mean, right now it's up, it's there. I don't know if we have that, obviously votes may be taken, they don't have to be taken, tonight, the way that's, agenda's written, so I don't know what the,
Is there anybody out on Zoom from Nexamp? You know what, that wouldn't be a bad idea, because then by then, Concom would have rescinded their vote by
Yep.
then, and then we would have
Right.
clean and clear. And then we can get some clarification on what stipulations we can put on this perma screen.
should say temper screen, not perma screen.
Temper screen?
It should be temper screen.
All right.
Right, what it is.
I'll entertain a motion to continue the Robinson Road screening surety to our next meeting.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Fabulous. Continue. All right. Current planning, as of right now, we have a planner, but there's nothing to discuss at the moment. She's still figuring things out, getting her feet wet and figuring out how we do things around here. I will say, talking with her today for the first time, because we had just met earlier this morning, she brings a lot of good knowledge. She has good experience from her previous positions, and she's already enlightened me on quite a few things. So I'm looking forward to working with her, and I think she's going to be a great asset to this board.
Okay.
Long-range planning, we have none. Other business as of right now, nothing came in within the last 48 hours. Our next meeting is Thursday, August 22nd. Does anybody have anything they'd like to discuss? Can I get a motion?
Motion to close the meeting.
Get a motion? Can I,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.